Hello friends, welcome again to the Concept Through Questions series, and in this video I'm going to discuss some more questions from the environmental section. Okay, so let's practice those questions one by one, and here is the first question for you. The meaning of footprint is described by the amount of what? Just see all these four choices and try to answer which one of them is going to be the best answer for this particular question. Okay, even though all these choices seems to be very much related to each other. Okay, so see, when we talk about the carbon footprint, that means that footprint means nishan, right? You are leaving the footprint of what? Carbon or carbon equivalent. So when you are leaving the footprints of carbon or carbon equivalent, we say the carbon footprint. And specifically we are talking about the greenhouse gases, because we are releasing a lot of greenhouse gases in the environment. And in the process, as of now, as you know, the most significant gases which are contributing to the global warming are the carbon dioxide and the methane, and that too carbon dioxide is being released in a huge quantity. So not only that carbon dioxide or like methane, but you're having another gases also which behave as a greenhouse gases. But what we'll do, we'll talk in terms of that if we convert those other gases also in terms of the carbon equivalent, then how much of carbon equivalent greenhouse gases we are releasing into the atmosphere. उसको हमने नाम दे दिया carbon footprint, that how much we are releasing into the environment. So basically this term is a very broader term, right? जैसे let's see over here, इसका जो correct answer आएगा, that is going to be the answer A, but let me just explain the other things also in the meantime. Okay, just have a look over here. Greenhouse gases emitted by the industries contributing to the global warming. If I ask you, is this statement correct? Obviously you will say correct, because industries are releasing the greenhouse gases to the environment, and obviously they are leading to the global warming. Carbon emission released by the burning of the jet fuel, right? So jet fuel मतलब aeroplanes में whatever the fuel that you use, obviously when you will burn it, obviously carbon dioxide is released. That way this statement is also correct. Increase in the carbon dioxide content in the atmosphere due to the felling of the trees. This is indirectly in the sense that when you will fell the trees, then obviously what will happen is the sink, because trees act as a sink for the carbon dioxide, that absorb the carbon dioxide, as you know. So when you will just remove the trees, then obviously what will happen, that sink will be get removed, then indirectly the carbon dioxide level will get increased in the environment. In that sense these statements are correct. But see, when we talk about the carbon footprint, we say that all our activities are creating a kind of footprints in the environment in terms of carbon equivalents. Let's say if I say that you have manufactured this pen, so has it led to the generation of the carbon footprints in the environment? You will say definitely. How it may have led? Because you may have produced it somewhere. When you may have produced it somewhere, you may have used energy, you may have used energy in machines and other processes also, and in that process you may have used somewhere, you may have burned the fossil fuels or other gases you may have released in the environment, which may be the greenhouse gases. So indirectly that means whatever the activities that we do, basically they are leaving some kind of carbon footprint in the environment, right? So basically carbon footprint is a very broad term. We cannot specifically uh, say that only industries are leading to the generation of the greenhouse gases. See the second statement, greenhouse gases emitted, yes, we know that they are leading to the generation of carbon dioxide or maybe greenhouse gases in the environment, but they are not the only solely responsible for the generation of the this greenhouse gases. If I say that you are carrying out the agriculture practice, agriculture activities are also leading to the greenhouse gases generation. So that means when we talk about the carbon footprints, there is a very broader term. It is not a very limited term in terms of like talking industries or just talking about the fuel, that means burning of the fuel only in the jets, or maybe like felling of the trees, right? So that is why if you see in the first statement, more appropriately it should have been the greenhouse gases or carbon dioxide equivalent. That should have been the more appropriate. But anyhow, even if he has mentioned carbon dioxide only, that will also give the holistic overview released into the atmosphere as a result of what? Which activity? See, of a particular individual, चाहे वो individual कर रहा है कोई ऐसी activity, maybe an organization कर रही है, or maybe community. So in totality, when we talk about the release of the carbon dioxide equivalent, or let's say greenhouse gases in the environment, then we say we are leaving the footprints and the environment, or the carbon footprints in the environment. So that way this statement is going to be the correct option. So carbon footprinting, you have to see in the broader context of release of the carbon dioxide equivalent, or maybe greenhouse gases in the environment, not only specific to a particular industry or particular activity. Okay, so the same thing has been mentioned over here. A carbon footprint is the total greenhouse gas emissions caused by the individual, हो सकता है event, हो सकता है organization, हो सकता है service, हो सकता है product, anything. So expressed as कैसे carbon dioxide equivalent. For example, nitrous oxide है, so even though it is not having carbon in it, but obviously indirectly we can say that is a greenhouse gas, and if you convert it into carbon dioxide equivalent, then obviously we can represent it as leaving the carbon footprint in the environment. Greenhouse gases including carbon containing gases, carbon dioxide, methane, can be emitted through the burning of fossil. So there are a lot of, not only that wood, building banao, though you need energy when you are need energy, you may be burning fossil fuel, therefore you will be releasing the. So any activity if you talk about, then definitely it is going to have some kind of impact in the form of release of the greenhouse gases in the environment, and therefore it is leaving the carbon footprint in the environment. That is how you have to see the second question over here. The term intended nationally determined contributions is sometimes seen in the news in the context of, right, you have been given all these meats are basically related to, as you may be knowing, related to the global warming, right, containing the global warming effort. That means these are the all meats that have taken place in order to reduce the release of what we call them, greenhouse gases in the environment. Now see, Stockholm Conference, very first meet related to the environmental efforts, 1972. Rio Summit, 1992. Again, no concrete effort. Here, no concrete effort, no concrete step, no concrete targets. Same situation over here. And when we come to the Kyoto Protocol, we have already discussed Kyoto Protocol. You have were given some concrete targets were given, and that too what we were saying, common but differentiated responsibility. That too for the what developed countries, because they have contributed to the larger extent in terms of releasing the greenhouse gases into the environment, and therefore they should be given the more targets. And initially focus was kept in Kyoto Protocol and the targets were given to the developed countries. But under the developed countries also, some countries like USA, which contributed to the largest extent possible into the environment, release of the greenhouse gases into the environment, it never signed, ratified the treaty. उसने कभी साइन किया ही नहीं क्योटो प्रोटोकॉल को. Just think of the largest in terms of indirectly polluter, say you can say, or the largest contributor of the greenhouse gases into the environment, that is the USA, have never signed this treaty. So that way only the remaining countries, some developed countries remained over there, and they have been trying their best in order to whatever the targets that were given. And we have already discussed in case of last video that there were 2 periods for which those targets are given, right? Now after that, now we are talking about the Paris Climate Deal, and I also talked about the COP21. And so in 2015, then Paris Climate Deal in Paris, that meet took place, and COP 21st meet took place, and there it was decided that developing countries also came together, and they with the developed countries, and all these countries then decided that all of us together have to go forward and have to do something in order to reduce the, that means in order to reduce that increase in the global warming, right? So in that effort, there was one term was coined over there, usko naam diya gaya intended nationally determined contribution. Intended आपकी intention, nationally determined contribution. National level पे you will determine कि how much you can contribute towards your effort in terms of reducing the release of greenhouse gases into the environment. इसका मतलब ये हुआ simple कि every country will decide by themselves how much they can contribute in reducing the greenhouse gases. That is why intended matlab you are thinking, you are having intention basically in order to reduce the greenhouse gases. Intended, nationally determined. Your nation, your country will decide by themselves how much you can contribute toward and once that contribution that you are saying that I can reduce the greenhouse gases by this much during this period by taking these efforts, right? So once I have given, then what I will do, over a period of time I will take the effort, and over a period of time I will just have the more ambitious target in reducing those greenhouse gases, right? So basically, जो concept था in Kyoto Protocol, concept was that you were given the targets to the countries. Now targets are not given to countries, but countries were asked that you tell us how much you can contribute. Target क्या था? Target बता दिया उसमें कि we have to keep the that temperature rise well below the 2 degrees Celsius by end of this century, when we compared it with the pre-industrialized level of like 1850 and 1900, right? कि 2 डिग्री से ज्यादा हमने उस पीरियड के कंपैरिजन में we don't have to allow the temperature to rise, because if it will rise beyond that, then obviously we are going to have a catastrophic impact on the earth, on the earth's atmosphere and that climate. So in order to do that, countries know that we don't have to allow the temperature to go beyond 2 degrees Celsius. To meet that particular target, what you can do by yourself, as India, what we can do, as US, what you can do. So you are providing nationally determined contribution. This is what I can contribute, right? So once you have this given, the time frame you have given, then they are monitored, and next time, once you have completed that, then you will give the next target for yourself. You will set the next contribution target for yourself, and that must be ambitious to previous one. So there this term came called as intended nationally determined contribution, called as Paris Climate Deal. Okay, that is how you have to understand. So it was conceptually different from the Kyoto Protocol, because Kyoto Protocol we could not achieve much in terms of like, आप सोचो ना, the largest contributor जो है वो he's out of that game. Now left out are the remaining small players. Now small players, they are trying their best to the level best, right? But overall impact we cannot bring down until unless we will bring on board to all the countries. And I hope if you are following the current events and all that, even the USA, Donald Trump, when he came into power, he threatened that he will just come out of this Paris climate deal. उसके लिए क्योतो में तो साइन ही नहीं किया, but there also they are having the objections that this will hamper their particular developmental needs and all that. But anyway, this is what you have to understand. So intended in nationally determined contributions are intended reductions, your intention to reduce the greenhouse gases emissions under the United Nations Framework Convention on, obviously under UNFCCC. I have told you that UNFCCC, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, was the agreement signed in the Rio Summit, and under that COP were created, and COP 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, right, that way. And because this was what Paris Climate Deal, the Paris Climate Deal, you already know, this is COP 21, and COP 21 is the part of, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Under Paris Agreement adopted on December this, I intended that determined contribution becomes the first nationally determined contribution of country. It means is basically those countries who have ratified that agreement, simply they will propose their nationally determined contribution, right, in their efforts to reduce the release of greenhouse gases into the environment, right? So ये ध्यान रखना है कि ये word किससे related है, and what is the basic meaning of this particular word. Let's go to the next. The Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change acts as a nodal agency in the country for the United Nations Environment Program. This is very like straightforward and like simple, in the sense that United Nations Environmental Program, you may be knowing, it is under United Nations, it is a body, United Nations Environment Program, and its headquarters are at Nairobi, Kenya. Nairobi, N-A-I, Nairobi, Kenya. Kenya is country and Nairobi is its capital. So they are having its headquarters over there, Nairobi in Kenya, and at the international level, this monitors basically the matters related to the environment. That is why the name came as United Nations Environmental Program. Now, obviously, in India, we are having a Ministry of Environmental, Forest and Climate Change, which looks after the matter of these environment and related issues. So obviously, when we think of like if we have to share some kind of data or steps related to environment and related things, then obviously it will be the nodal agency is going to be this only, because they are going to because they are monitoring the situation in India. Then obviously they are the only one who are going to coordinate with the international agencies, not only the United Nations Environment Program, which is the body of the United Nations, but there are other international bodies, regional international bodies related to environment. They are also, this basically ministry coordinate with those particular bodies also. Okay, so this basically statement is correct statement. So just have a look over here. The ministry also serves as a nodal agency in the country, nodal point, right? फॉर द यूनाइटेड नेशन, यूएनईपी के लिए तो है ही, अदर्स भी हैं, फॉर एग्जांपल साउथ एशिया कोऑपरेटिव एनवायरमेंटल प्रोग्राम, साउथ एशिया से रिलेटेड है. Then you are having International Center for Integrated Mountain Development, this and even though you don't need to remember, right? Just have a look on this. These are some of the organizations. United Nations Conference, you are having United Nations Conference on like environment and development. ये United Nations का है, इसको ध्यान रखना थोड़ा सा. United Nations Conference on Environment and Development, UNCED. So as simple as that, if you have to remember that there are other environmental organizations across the world, regional and that means regionally also they have been made, and some of them have been made under the United Nations. So if from India's part, they have some information has to be exchanged, some steps have to be taken. So wo kaun coordinate kare, it is going to be this particular ministry. Okay, let's go to the next now. Which of the following is the correct sequence of implementing ISO 14001? Again, we have already discussed what is ISO 14000, right? This is the environmental management system, right? और जो कि ISO ने डेवलप किया है, तो करेक्ट सीक्वेंस क्या है when you implement this particular ISO 14000 in any particular organization? So these are some of the steps you have been given over here. So let me just take you to the diagram. I think that will explain you. Basically, this is how the things move. Let us say as an organization, we decided that we will go ahead with the implementation of the ISO 14001. Right? ये मैंने क्या करना है, this standard, environmental standard, I want to implement in my company. Right? So what steps you need to follow? How you need to proceed? Right? So those steps, sequential steps you need to take in order to implement that system, in order for your system to be effective, in order to have a lowest possible impact of all the activities that you are having within the organization on the environment. ठीक है? So just have a look. First, पहले तो क्या करोगे आप, प्लान करोगे भाई मैं if I want to implement this IS 14000, तो first you will plan what is your objective, करना क्या चाहते हो आप. You should be very clear what you want to achieve. I want to implement it, but for what purpose I want to implement. So that plan you need to prepare. You want environmental aspects, you need to plan. Philosophy क्या है मेरी as a company, philosophy क्या है, what I think that how should I have concern towards the environment. वो policy, हर एक company की अपनी quality policy. Every company has its quality policy. Every company could have, if that company is thinking of implementing environmental management system, they are going to have their own kind of philosophy or policy regarding that. So वो पॉलिसी क्लियर होनी चाहिए. प्लान करोगे आप, दिस इज माय पॉलिसी, दिस इज व्हाट आई वांट टू अचीव. एनवायरमेंटल एस्पेक्ट्स क्या हैं जो मैं अचीव करना. लीगल एंड रिक्वायरमेंट्स क्या है. लीगल रिक्वायरमेंट्स का मतलब है कि लेट अस से गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से कोई रिक्वायरमेंट तो नहीं है. इज देयर एनी काइंड ऑफ रिक्वायरमेंट फ्रॉम द गवर्नमेंट साइड व्हिच आई नीड टू मीट विद रिस्पेक्ट टू द एनवायरमेंट. सो दोस ऑल थिंग्स you need to consider under the plan. You have to plan for that. Okay, once you have planned, now you have to implement, you have to do. For doing that, you need to check your capabilities also. Should I have capability? Do I have trained manpower at my end? All the people, are they aware that how the things to be done so that environmental impact is minimum? All those things. So you have to develop the capability, capacity, like you may have to invest money also and all those things. So that will be the part of implementation. For example, resources हैं आपके पास, उसको फ्री में तो होगा नहीं, वो रिसोर्सेज चाहिए, यू नीड पर्सनल मनी भी चाहिए आपको इसको इंप्लीमेंट करने के लिए. रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी किस किस को रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी देनी है. इफ यू विल सिंपली से ओके कोई बात नहीं, वी विल इंप्लीमेंट, बट यू हैव नॉट गिवन द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज दैट व्हाट हु इज गोइंग टू डू व्हाट, then it is not going to be successful. You have to fix the responsibility of the all concerned. Okay, एक को दे दी कि you are going to do this and you are going to monitor this, for the other person given this, something that way. So you need to have resources, responsibility देनी पड़ेगी, capability educate करना पड़ेगा लोगों को, communication proper, how the documentation. ऐसा नहीं है हवा में नहीं करनी है बातें, बोल दिया कि बात खत्म होगी. No, if you are doing something, you have carried out some activity, you have to document it. So all these things are to be fall under the category of doing or implementation stage. यहाँ पर planning, policy या plan करना, here implementation stage, and then third stage is check. Once you start implementing, right, now you have to monitor it, check करनी पड़ेगी चीजें. whether there is any deviation or not, what you had planned, what is coming out, and all that. See, observation and measurement. Measure karo whatever activity that you are carrying out. Until and unless you will measure it, you will not be able to tell what you had planned and what you had achieved. Have whatever you had planned, have you achieved? How will you come to know? Only when you will monitor that, when you will carry out the measurement, right? Non-compliance, जो नॉन कंप्लाइंस का मतलब फॉर एग्जांपल लीगल इशू था, वेदर यू आर एबल टू कंप्लाई और नॉट, करेक्शन की जरूरत है कि नहीं, ऑल दैट. रिकॉर्ड मैनेजमेंट, इंटरनल ऑडिट्स. इंटरनल ऑडिट्स का मतलब है इंटरनली भी आप क्या करते हो, प्रोसेसेस को चेक करते हो. दैट मींस इन व्हेन यू टॉक अबाउट द चेकिंग और रिव्यू, यू कैरी आउट चेकिंग, बेसिकली मोर एप्रोप्रिएटली वुड बी चेक. दैट मींस यू विल कैरी आउट द एक्चुअल मेजरमेंट ऑफ दोस प्रोसेसेस, कंट्रोल करोगे उनको, राइट? नॉन कंप्लायंस को देखोगे, ऑब्जर्वेशन करोगे, मेजरमेंट करोगे, एंड ऑल दैट. ओके, दैट विल फॉल अंडर द कैटेगरी ऑफ चेक. वंस यू हैव डन दैट, तो आपने प्लान भी कर लिया, यू हैव डन द प्लानिंग, यू हैव डन द व्हाट वी कॉल implementation, and you have measured those aspects also when you are implementing it. Once you have measured, what you need to do, that report should go to the management, and management will review it, will see it, they will act on it, they will take the action on it, they will see the things, whether everything was okay or what were the deviation, what steps we need to take, should we modify the changes, or should we make more improvement in the processes in the near future. So क्या होगा यहाँ पर, review होगा, action होगा again. So who is going to take the action? Basically it is the management, higher management, who is going to take the decision related to performance, policy, progress, further corrective action. क्या क्या लेना है, what corrective action you have to take, all those things that, and then feedback is again given based on. So once management will review it, management will take action, and then further this cycle will again continue. So आपने क्या है, आपने बोला कि these are the changes that we need to make. We have to implement some kind of new things over here. So what you will do, once you have taken the decision, then again you will start, again you will plan, and again starting the whole process. So basically ये क्या है, this kind of cycle I think you may have also studied, if some of you have studied, like in case of this quality also, right? Those who are from maybe mechanical or some other backgrounds. So that kind of similar kind of cycle you are having over here also. That means when you will implement this ISO 14001 in an organization, you have to follow plan, do, check, action, and this cycle continues. Continuous improvement, right? Continuously you have to improve upon the environmental aspects. ऐसा नहीं है कि एक बार implement कर दिया बात खत्म होगी. So just have a look over here. Which of the following is the correct sequence of the implementation of ISO? That means plan, do, check, act. B is the correct option for you. Okay, let's see this question now. Which of the following is associated with the issue of control and phasing out of the use of ozone depleting substances? You know, when we talk about the ozone depleting substances, that means we are talking about the substances which are leading to the depletion of the ozone or ozone layer, right? तो इनमें से बोलता कौन से बेसिकली मीट्स थी और प्रोटोकॉल थे और कॉन्फ्रेंसेस थी which are related with regard to the effort, international efforts to reduce the like release of those release of ozone depleting substances. Okay, so see, Kyoto Protocol तो आपको पता है, this is not related to ozone depleting substances, release of ozone depleting substances, but this is related to what? Reduce the release of greenhouse gases, right? Bretton Woods conference, I don't know whether you are knowing of Bretton Woods, was basically related to IMF or World Bank. World Bank and International Monetary Fund was created under this particular conference called the Bretton Woods Twins बोलते हैं हम उन्हें. We call them Bretton Woods Twins. Twins, as you know, that means तो एक you are having these twins, World Bank and IMF. So this is also not related. Nagoya Protocol is also not related to this, because reason being कि Nagoya Protocol is related to the sharing of kind of those benefits which are arising out of the genetic resources. Basically it is related to biodiversity kind of. So biodiversity, because of there was one convention that was a convention of biological diversity. Under that particular convention or agreement, it was decided that whatever the genetic resources we are having across the world, so if someone make use of those genetic resources should be the benefits of the genetic resources should be equally shared with all the concerned. Okay, that is the meaning of this. So just have an idea, that this is something related to genetic resources or biodiversity, something that way. So this is also not over there, but this you have to remember. Basically, this particular Montreal Protocol, this is related to the control and phasing out of the ozone depleting substances, right? Like it is for greenhouse gases, it was the Kyoto Protocol. Here we are having the Montreal Protocol for the reduction of the release of ozone depleting substances. Okay, so Montreal Protocol जो है उससे related है. Just have a look. Montreal Protocol is an international treaty designed to protect the ozone layer. Montreal is a place in Canada. So there this meeting took place, and there they decided to protect the ozone layer by phasing out. Phasing out means removing the production of numerous substances that are responsible for ozone depletion. And for example, it came into force. Agreed का वो 87 में हुई, and then it came into force. More appropriately, you need to remember this. 1987 में this basically they agreed. This meeting took place. So जो मॉन्ट्रियल प्रोटोकॉल है, जैसे यू आर हैविंग सिग्निफिकेंट जो ओजोन डिप्लीटिंग सब्सटेंसेस थे, फॉर एग्जांपल क्लोरोफ्लोरोकार्बन, CFCs, these are the ozone. CFCs were the refrigerants. Chlorofluorocarbons, which earlier we used to make use of in case as a refrigerants in case of ACs, refrigerators, etc. But later on in the Montreal Protocol, then it was decided that they have to be phased out. Later on, another refrigerants were also included in different amendments. If you see, there are a lot of amendments over here. Vienna, Montreal. You don't need to remember and all that. But last one is Kigali. So Kigali is related to the 2016. You can keep it in note of this. This is also related to the hydrofluorocarbons, which are the ozone depleting substances. उनको phase out करने के लिए है, right? But more appropriately, you're going to talk about chlorofluorocarbons over there in Montreal Protocol and all that. Later on, in different meets, different kinds of these ozone depleting substances were added. So correct answer is going to be B answer. Let's see this question now. The primary concern of Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change are the implementation of the policies and programs relating to the conservation of the country's natural resources. Now ये कुछ एक factual information है, directly straightforward है, इसमें बहुत ज़्यादा logic नहीं है. If it is there, if they are having the mandate, then you should know. If it is not the mandate, then obviously you can say yes or no. But see what mandate it is having. Primary concern क्या है इसका? Are the implementation of the policies and programs relating to the conservation of the natural resources. So basically, यहाँ से idea लगाना है, environmental, forest, climate change. So obviously they are definitely related. They are definitely concerned with the judicious use of these natural resources of the country. तो इसको statement देख लेते हैं. This is basically the factual information. This is the correct information. This is a true statement, rather you can say. Let's have a look. The primary concerns of the ministry are implementation of the policy and program relating to conservation of. ये है primary concern क्या है? Relating to conservation of country's natural resources, including lakes and river, its biodiversity, forests, wildlife, ensuring the welfare of the animals, and prevention and abatement of the pollution, etc. तो सारी ये अगर देखोगे, they are related. These are all the natural resources for us. So to take care of all these natural resources, वो किसके ambit में fall करती है? That falls under the ambit of Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. While implementing these policies and programs, the ministry is guided by the principle of sustainable development and enhancement of human well-being. Obviously, ultimate purpose क्या है? Why you want to conserve the resources? Ultimately, human well-being के लिए है. And the concept that is followed while doing all this, that you want to carry out the conservation of this, you follow the concept of sustainable development. This ministry follow the concept of sustainable development. That means sustainable development का मतलब ये हुआ, the development which can be sustained, right? The development, the kind of development which meets the needs of the current generation without compromising the ability of the future generation to meet their own need, right? ये मतलब है इसका. या इसको बहुत ही सिंपल टर्म में हिंदी में बात करूं मैं, इसका मतलब ऐसा नहीं करना कि खाया पिया उड़ाया और अगली जनरेशन के लिए कुछ नहीं छोड़ा, राइट? सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट का मतलब है खाना पीना भी है, you have to make use of it and also leave it to the future generation. इस तरीके से आपने उसको यूज करना है. definitely we cannot live without natural resources. You have to make use of those resources, but we have to make use of those natural resources in such a way that we also enjoy their benefit. At the same time, we use them in such a way that they are also, those resources are left to the future generations also. It is not that we at this generation just consume whole of the resources, right, to just satisfy our greed and not the need, and therefore future generations are having, they are having nothing in order to enjoy in terms of making use of these natural resources. So उसको हम बोलते हैं सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट विच कुड बी सस्टेन्ड, और वो तभी है आप भी यूज करो, फ्यूचर जनरेशन के लिए भी आप क्या करो, छोड़ दो. दैट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ दिस. Okay, so that means this is a true statement, you can say. Let's see this statement. Under ISO 14001, environmental performance targets are set by the government. Just see this statement and try to answer. Sometimes even if you don't have like a straightforward answer, you can just meticulously go through that particular question or statement and can get the right answer. Under ISO 14000, the environmental performance targets are set by, चलो बात की बात पहले करते हैं. If I ask you, who sets the environmental performance target for you? पहली बात तो यह है कि is it voluntary? I have already discussed in the earlier videos also. Is ISO 14001 voluntary or is it mandatory? It is voluntary. आप डिसाइड करोगे एज एन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, नहीं करना ना करो, कोई नहीं रोकने टोकने वाला आपको. Nobody is going to enforce on you. Simply, if you think that I want my organization to have a kind of image where it is more environmentally sensitive, that kind of message I want to give, I'm more environmentally sensitive organization, then you can go ahead with this particular environmental management system. And out of those environmental management systems, you are having one of the most prominent called as ISO 14001. So it is voluntary. पहली बात तो voluntary, आपने decide करना. Targets, who will set the targets for you? It is not the ISO who is going to set the targets for you. It is you who are going to set the targets for you, for yourself. So under ISO 14000, environmental performance targets are not set by the government in consultant. It should be this way. Set by the, it should have been, okay, framing में थोड़ी सी गड़बड़ है इसमें. Set by the organizations. This was the set by the organizations or companies in consultation with the government. So they have, why they should consult with the government? Only thing is that if governments are having some certain kind of legal, in terms of like they are having some kind of policy with respect to environment, which those guidelines are need to be fulfilled, then definitely you have to adhere to it. Usko aap avoid nahi kar sakte. But in general, when we talk about the environment management system, there is no such obligation on your part to have that particular system. So that is why if you say, even if there are any performance targets, you are setting those targets by yourself. Nobody is going to set those targets for you, right? Government wala part hai. If government has a certain kind of, they have made a policy which you need kind of that goals or something that government guidelines you need to meet, then obviously those you have to meet. So for that you don't necessarily need to have a environmental management system. वो तो आप वैसे भी कर सकते हो. But definitely that will be covered under this if you have implemented. ISO 14000, unlike these standards, unlike other ISO 14000 standards, has been meaning is that this is a series. 14000 is a series and one of them is ISO 14001. Is a voluntary. पहली बात तो ये. With its main aim to assist the companies in, तो ये क्या करेगा? It will help the companies in improving their environmental performance and complying with the applicable legislations. Applicable legislation means if government is having some certain kind of requirement. Organization sets its own targets. कौन set करेगा? Organizations. And performance measures, and the standards highlights that organization needs to do. Standard केवल ये बोलेगा कि आपको जो है what that particular organization have to do, कि what उस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को क्या करना पड़ेगा उन गोल्स एंड ऑब्जेक्टिव को अचीव करने के लिए. एंड दिस इज द वे, इट विल शो यू द वे टू गो अहेड, राइट? एंड द स्टैंडर्ड कैन बी अप्लाइड टू अ वैरायटी ऑफ लेवल्स. दैट मींस kind of different business forms, not only the manufacturing, you could have the service industries. For any kind of industries, these kind of standards can be applied, right? So इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि ये जो statement है, this statement is false statement. Okay, so let's go to the next now. विच आर द फॉलोइंग स्टेटमेंट्स रिगार्डिंग EIA एनवायरमेंटल इंपैक्ट असेसमेंट से रिलेटेड कौन सी आपकी जो है वो दे आर करेक्ट. Now some basic idea we are already having about the environmental impact assessment, right? So just have look. All industries are required to conduct an environmental impact assessment before taking approval from the government. Now point is when we carry out the environmental impact assessment, that means assessment of the impact of that project on the environment. उस प्रोजेक्ट को इंप्लीमेंट करने से एनवायरनमेंट के ऊपर इंपैक्ट क्या होगा उसके बारे में अगर असेसमेंट करनी है, उसका पता लगाना है, तो वी से उसको बोलते हैं एनवायरमेंटल इंपैक्ट असेसमेंट. राइट नाउ पॉइंट इज दैट शुड आई गो फॉर एवरी प्रोजेक्ट एवरी इंडस्ट्री दैट इसका एनवायरमेंटल इंपैक्ट क्या है उसको डिटेल में पहले स्टडी करो फिर स्टेब्लिश करो. राइट इट इज नॉट दैट वे. सी वेयर वी थिंक दैट okay, these projects could have significant impact on the environment. So before starting those projects, it is judicious. It will be useful if we carry out that assessment, that how much impact it is going to have, and whether if it is going to have that much impact, can I reduce the impact? And by reducing the impact, can I implement it? Right. So it means first statement, if we say all industries, so it is not applicable to all industries, all the projects. No, it is not that case. Basically, government has given the guidelines where you are having like around 50 areas, different areas, categories, which basically you need to carry out the environmental impact assessment, not each and every industry, right? That way it will be a Herculean task and I think it will not be possible, right? So, but jahan par wherever you feel that it definitely is going to have the impact, there you are. So all industries are not required. So pehli statement to aapki gayi. This acts as a tool which helps in decision making with regard to the impact of the project on the environment. यही तो पर्पस था. क्या करेगा? It will help you in making the decision whether you should you go for that project. अगर that project, if that project is highly harmful to the environment, उसका impact environment के ऊपर बहुत ही ज्यादा है, तो unnecessarily we should not go for the project. Yes, it is having the impact, but that impact we can minimize. Then you can go for the, so that you will come to know only when you will carry out that study, carry out that assessment, environmental impact assessment, right? So that means this acts as a tool, a method. This is a way, process, tool hai ye, which helps the decision making with regard to the impact of the project on the environment. Assessment karoge, uske basis pe you are going to take the decision. So basically this statement is correct. So it is going to have the B as a correct option. Okay. Just have a look. Not all the projects in industries require EIA to be done. Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change has categorized 40 sectors which require environmental clearances before commencing any kind of project activity. See, तो उसमें वो detailed guidelines आपको मिल जाएगी. For example, when you go into their website and they will find that there are different segment, different projects categories, roughly about 40 categories हैं. Which require, जिसमें mandatory you are definitely have to carry out the assessment. वो mention किया होगा उसमें before you start carrying out that project activity, and for which EIA is to be done. So you cannot start that project until unless you have carried out the detailed assessment in the form of environmental impact assessment. And once you have obtained the clearance, then obviously you can move ahead. So these are the categories on the basis of activities and the area of project. So दो तीन criteria हैं. एक तो type of activity है, right? And the other one is the by area, कितना impact होगा उसका, कितने बड़े, that if that project has to be executed in a very large area, then so based upon that, based upon area and based upon the what kind of that activities, based upon that this classification, these sectors have been identified. Okay, let's go to the next now. Just a minute. Okay, carbon dioxide has low carbon warming potential. This kind of information we have already discussed, I think previously also in case earlier videos. It has low global warming potential, right? Among major greenhouse gases that we know. Major greenhouse gases क्या और भी हैं आपके पास? For example, you are having methane, you are having nitrous oxide, you are having others also, right? So it is still the most important greenhouse. भाई इसकी बात ही हम ज्यादा क्यों करते हैं? Still हमारे लिए क्या है? It is going to be the most important gas. क्यों है हमारे लिए? Why we mostly talk in terms of carbon dioxide when we are talking about the greenhouse gases, right? तो उसके कुछ reasons दिए हैं. So due to increase in emission, is this statement correct in this context? Obviously, because the increase, there has been a sharp increase in the release of the carbon dioxide into the environment, mostly because of the burning of the fossil fuels to meet our environmental needs, sorry, to meet our developmental needs. क्योंकि हमारे हमने जो डिपेंडेंस है डेवलप, बिकॉज वी आर मोर फोकस ऑन द इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट, एंड टू कैरी आउट दैट इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट बेसिकली वी आर डिपेंडेंस इज ऑन द एनर्जी, एंड ज्यादातर एनर्जी की रिक्वायरमेंट कहां से मीट हो रही है? दे आर बीइंग मेट फ्रॉम द burning of the fossil fuel, and therefore that is, so obviously there has been a significant increase in the carbon dioxide emissions. Okay, now let's see the second. ये स्टेटमेंट करेक्ट है, इट इज रिलीज्ड इन लार्ज क्वांटिटीज. ऑब्वियसली दोनों चीजें हैं, ये मोर और लेस ये और ये क्या है, सेम ही है, राइट? एक तो है और पीरियड ऑफ टाइम emissions have increased and that too have increased in large quantity. लाइक हम बहुत ज्यादा, जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल थर्मल पावर स्टेशंस हैं, उनमें बहुत ज्यादा बर्निंग होती है, या मे बी अदर्स ऑफ स्टील्स एंड अदर रिलेटेड एक्टिविटीज में भी. सो दैट मींस दिस स्टेटमेंट इज आल्सो करेक्ट. सो बोथ these statements are correct. Its period to stay in the atmosphere is significantly longer. I think in the last video I discussed somewhere that it can remain in the atmosphere thousands of years. So that period is too large. And if you are releasing this carbon dioxide in a huge quantity in the environment, and in the near future it is not going to be absorbed, or maybe we don't have a sufficient like kind of sink for that, then obviously if it is going to stay in the environment, then global warming effect, that means overall the greenhouse effect that is going to be the significant, right? So its period of stay in the atmosphere is significantly longer. So that is why हम जो है बोलते हैं, we still हमारे लिए, that is why this is the most important greenhouse gas, because of all these reasons. So this is going to be the correct option. Okay, okay, more or less whatever I have explained you, that is over here. Let's see the last question on this section. Energy from the sun reaches earth atmosphere mainly in the form of which of the following combination of electromagnetic rays or radiations? Now see, this question is combination of like environmental section and science also, right? General science also. Environmental mein kyun? Because this part normally greenhouse effect mein this part comes into picture, and then global warming, you know. So that is why we need to know this. So first you can answer it if you know the pattern of the, that is radiations, which basically, पहली बात तो ये है कि as you may be knowing, if a body is highly heated, that means is heated state में है, तो it emits the radiations, right? And sun is having a very high temperature, and when a body is having a very high temperature, in that case most of the radiations released are short wave radiations, right? So जो ज्यादातर एनर्जी सन से अर्थ में आती है, that is in the form of short wave radiations. Short wave radiations of different frequencies and different wavelengths in that particular electromagnetic spectrum. So you don't have to pay much attention to this particular figure, but this figure is just to help you understand. Most of that energy that we get short is in the form of a visible light, and visible light falls under the category of short wave radiation में बोलते हैं हम. तो एक on one side you are having infrared ray, other side you have ultraviolet. So कुछ portion of infrared radiations fall under long wave, and some portion, significant portion, falls under the short wave, whereas visible and ultraviolet rays, they falls under the short wave radiations category. Now out of the total energy that we receive from the sun, 43% of energy is in the form of the visible light. ये visible light की form में है, and 7% comes in the form of ultraviolet radiations, UV rays, and significant about 50% or 49% of the energy that you see from the sun is in the form of what? This infrared radiations. Infrared radiations में इसमें ज्यादातर portion जो है वो short wave का है. ये smaller, very small portion of infrared radiations that reach the earth, that is in the this long wave radiations की form में, but majority किसमें है? Short wave radiations. तो short wave radiations में ही almost entire जो that particular जो energy है, that is received by the earth, right? So this is the idea that you need to have, that we need to किस form में energy आती है. तो significant energy come in the form of right? This infrared radiations, right? सबसे ज्यादा अगर पूछा जाए तो it is infrared radiations, then this visible light and ultraviolet. Ultraviolet rays, as you know, radiations, most of it is absorbed by the what? Ozone layer. So energy from sun reaches the earth or enters the earth's atmosphere mainly in the form of short wave radiations, mainly comprising of UV visible and short wave radiations, right? Moreover, around 44% of energy is visible radiations only. 44 आपका जो visible radiation है, तो that way अगर आपने बात करनी है इस केस में, so I think you are having what ये UV, infrared rays and visible waves. These are the three radiations in which you are going to have the maximum radiations, right? और जो ग्रीन हाउस इफेक्ट है, आई थिंक समवेयर आई हैव डिस्कस्ड इन द like in the first video where that concept through questions in environment, where I explained you that जो अर्थ है, when it receives the energy, then it is having a lower temperature, then it will also emit the radiations, and more prominently infrared radiations. But those infrared radiations are longer wavelength radiations, and those infrared radiations, then when they want to escape, these short wave infrared radiations that come from the sun, they can easily pass the earth's atmosphere. But long wave infrared radiations which gets generated after the heating of the earth, when they want to escape, these greenhouse gases block those long wave infrared radiations, and therefore leading to the greenhouse effect and warmth of that particular atmosphere, leading to global warming. Okay, that is how it is. So I think these are the some of the questions broadly cover the most of the topic of your this particular topic you're having for the exam. So in the next video we are having some more questions on the similar lines. Till then, bye. Thank you.